Welcome to the Vibrant Life Radio Show with Dr. Brian Ullman.
Welcome, everybody, to Vibrant Life Radio Show. We have another exciting show. Every week just keeps getting better and better. I'm your host, Dr. Brian Ullman, with my beautiful co-host, Julian Ullman. How are you doing this fine day, my dear?
I am doing fantastic. Excited to be here.
Oh, my gosh. I am, too. We're so lucky to have Mr. Gary Romano back this week. We had him last week. We had so many rave reviews that we had to pull him back. I have a lot of questions for you, Gary, about growing in this godforsaken place we call Washoe County.
Yes.
Gary is from Sierra Valley Ranch, Sierra Valley Farms. It is an organic farm near Portola, and we're going to talk to Gary. Also, very excited to have two very good friends, Jackie Goodman and Amanda Burden, publishers of Edible Reno Tahoe. Everybody has seen this magazine. If you haven't seen this magazine, your head has been in the sand. This is an amazing magazine. And today's show, honey, Julian, this is going to be a great show because we have the mix of the best of both worlds. Here we have the guy who is growing the organic fruits and vegetables. We also have two ladies that really are dedicated. Their mission is to bring this to the public and to educate the public. You know, there's a difference between organic and non-organic, as we learned from Gary last week. And so this is really exciting to have the three of you here, and welcome all of you.
Oh, great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And I have so many questions for you. First of all, Edible Reno Tahoe. Tell us a little bit about how this got started. I know this is widely circulated all over the country, maybe internationally. But Amanda, tell us a little bit about your magazine.
Absolutely. So Edible Communities is our parent, and there's actually about 80 edibles across the United States and 2 in Canada. So there's an edible in pretty much every major city or region you can think of. Edible Boston, Edible Chicago, Edible San Francisco, Edible Santa Fe.
So Edible
on.
Reno is
Edible
ranking
Queens.
with Boston, with these huge metropolis?
Well, yes.
Wow.
They're independently owned and operated, so it's a licensing agreement, and I bought into it to bring it to Reno Tahoe.
So glad you did.
Yeah, it's a great magazine.
It really is.
Awesome.
Thank you. I love it.
And then I know your passion. You were the former editor of Reno Magazine.
Yes.
And when you decided to leave Reno Magazine and start Edible, was this a scary moment for you? Was this something where you just said, or did you see Edible and you said, I'm on board?
Well, like a lot of people out there, I was actually laid off of the RTJ, and a lot of other people out there have been laid off of jobs. It's a rough time right now. And so I was left feeling, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I want to stay in this community. I love Reno Tahoe. And so I found Edible Reno Tahoe to be able to create this wonderful magazine here. I did a business plan, 6 months. I researched it, but still, you never know. You never know. You hope when you create it that they will enjoy it, right? And yes, we've had huge success. A lot of people love the magazine. Thank goodness. I'm knocking on wood. Yes, it's been wonderful.
We are going to talk a lot about your magazine today, and what I want everybody to know, how do they get a copy of this? Is this something that they have to search out? Can they subscribe? What's the easiest way to find a copy of Edible?
Both. It's complimentary throughout the region. We actually have about 500 locations where we distribute the magazine, about 13 different counties. So you can find it in South Lake Tahoe, Truckee, Reno, Carson City, Fallon, Yerington, all over. So they can pick up a copy, but they fly off the shelves, frankly. So the best way to get one is through a subscription, and we offer that for $32 a year for 5.
That's fantastic. If you can't find, or if your local store is out of Edible, Jackie is so kind to bring them by my office at the TMJ Therapy and Sleep Center. That's 401 West Peckham Lane.
We do have them there.
We do have them. And what's really interesting is I'll have my patients, we'll pick them up in the waiting room, they'll bring them back to the operatory, and then they'll ask, well, can I take this with me? And I'll say, absolutely. And so we probably need a few more at the office because they really fly out. They really fly off the shelf. Now, Jackie, you're involved in this magazine as well, and you're just such a wonderful person. I would say most of Reno, Washoe County knows Jackie Goodman. But tell us how you are helping the effort for Edible Tahoe Reno.
Well,
Reno Tahoe.
yes, due to the fact that it is a complimentary magazine, we are able to exist upon advertising dollars. So I came on board to kind of run sales of ads so that we could actually produce this high-end quality magazine. So, it was something I was going to help on the side while I had my other career. And just like we founded Edible Reno Tahoe here out of being laid off, my career and what I was doing in the dental industry, which is how I know you, wasn't doing as well as it had been for the 12 years I was doing my job. So it kind of worked out well that I just kind of shifted from the dental sales into ad sales, and really the great thing about it is I ended up living in my community. I was kind of a weekend resident here because I spent so much time on the road. So for me, when you talk about everybody knowing who I am now, it's just because I actually live here now.
Oh, that's not the only reason. You're a pretty outgoing gal.
Well, you know what? But basically, being able to work with Gary Romano and a lot of the other farmers here, I've been out to his farm.
Yeah.
I've done the.
We have your magazine all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Even in Little Beckworth, it flies off the shelf.
Yeah, and you have such an amazing weekend, farmers market, and then the cooking demos that happen. I don't know if you talked about this last week, but I brought my mother, my 6-year-old mother from Miami, and I dragged her out to Beckworth, and she was just like, "Is this what you do every day?" And I'm like, "Pretty much."
This is so fun.
Yeah. So
I love the mission statement of the magazine. I thought that was fantastic. Where food is the only common denominator. I might add oxygen in food, our common denominator. But I mean, it affects us all. And comment on that, if you would, Amanda. Just kind of expound on your mission just a little bit.
Absolutely. So our tagline is, we celebrate and support the local food community, and we do just that. We really want to point people to our local food resources here, whether it's Gary and his wonderful farm and his wonderful produce, or it might be a rancher and local natural meats, food artisans, all sorts of things. And also cooking is a big part of that. A lot of people, they just want to go down to McDonald's and grab something easy. They don't want to go home and cook it. So there's great places like Nothing To It where you can go and learn how to cook, which is such a kind of a lost art in a way, So we talk about cooking and recipes and farmers and ranchers and profiles and programs and all kinds of things. So yes, we're all about healthy eating, healthy food. And I just want to say one other thing, which is, we have these high rates of obesity and diabetes and other health concerns here. And we're really that's part of our mission, is we want to try and curb those rates if we can by pointing people to these wonderful, healthy sources of food.
Exactly. And I think, last week when we were talking with Gary about GMO products, organic products, organic farming, or all of our wonderful local farms, I think that people are just now starting to recognize the importance of, number one, buying local, but in addition, buying organic, and why that's so much more healthy for you.
Yeah, I mean, the food that you eat starts your body having organic. You want to start with fresh stuff right off the get-go. That leads to all the health problems after that. So you want to start out fresh and happy.
Gary, do you find that magazines like Edible Reno Tahoe have helped your cause by getting the word out? Again, GMO, as I understand, that's genetically modified organisms.
Right.
That's bad. But, I mean, because typically, I go to the store, and organic to me just means looks like it's beat up and twice the price.
Right.
But I'm really, once my wife, Julian, started raising chickens, I really saw the difference between a homegrown chicken egg and the stuff we're getting at the store. So is this movement, are we in an arithmetic increase in awareness?
Definitely. And their timing was perfect because there was nothing out there. And it's even great for us farmers because now I can see who the other farmers are, and it's actually created a network of farmers that we're all talking together.
That is
we're all
fantastic.
On the same page, so to speak. And it's great. I mean, they do such a great layout, and it's just a great.
It's a beautiful magazine,
Yes.
and you do Reno a huge favor bringing that to us every it's spring,
5 times
summer,
a year.
5 times a year.
Right.
And the cooking one is fantastic as well. But I think what's so great about your magazine, and I know this was part of your mission, is to make sure that Reno and the surrounding areas know what's happening in Reno in terms of food and different local events and the river events and all of that kind of stuff. It's one place where you can go find that calendar in there and find out all the great things that are going on in Reno.
Right.
Which is, I'm always grateful for that. I love that calendar. I think it's probably my favorite calendar out there in terms of magazines because you let us know what's going on. And going to that, you have some really interesting things the end of this month that are happening in Reno. Name just a couple before we go on this next break and let us know what's happening in Reno over the next week or two. I know we do have Earth Day coming up in April, which is a big deal. So I know that's
I
thing.
think Gary's event that starts on May 31st runs through September 20th needs re-mention. We talked about this last week.
Yeah.
But Gary out at Sierra Valley Farms, you bring out a special chef every Friday.
Right. We have 14 vendors. We're actually the only on-farm farmers market in the state of California.
Farmers market.
The fun market.
And you do wine tasting out there.
We have wine tasting. We have the local brewery now. That's the Brewing Lair, I believe they're called, that does beer tasting. We have fresh fish from Bodega Bay. Longboards does a full bakery. Great organic vegetables, fruits, and condiments, you name it. We try and have a one-stop shop.
Absolutely fantastic. Well, again, this is a Vibrant Life Radio Show. I'm your host, Dr. Brian Allman, with my beautiful co-host, my wife, Julene Allman. If you just joined us, we're sitting here with Amanda Burden and Jackie Goodman, publishers of Edible Reno Tahoe, and our re-guest, Gary Romano from Sierra Valley Farms. We're talking about things organic, and we look forward to coming back from break. We have a few questions about what is really inside Reno, Edible Reno Tahoe. And Jackie, I want to ask you, what's it been like to bring these organic people together? So join us after the break and Vibrant Life Radio Show.
Consign Furniture has grown to be the largest consignment store in northern Nevada, with over 23,000 square feet of showroom to choose from.
Living rooms, dining rooms, bedrooms, and so much more. They offer all types of household items at 70% off retail prices.
Consign Furniture has new inventory arriving daily. Come in and find that special piece you're looking for, or furniture for your whole house.
Consign Furniture offers pickup and delivery service to make it easy and convenient to spruce up your home or even get rid of things you're not using.
Do you have items in storage costing you money each month?
Don't worry, Consign Furniture can help. Nervous about having strangers come to your house?
Don't worry, Consign Furniture can help.
Located at 2335 Market Street in Reno. Stop by today or call them at 775-824-0222 and let them help take the guesswork out of selling your furniture or household items.
Easy way to sell, smart way to buy. 775-824-0222.
If you've been diagnosed with sleep apnea, but you're not wearing your CPAP, please listen carefully. Every day you are putting your life at risk by ignoring this life-threatening disease. Right now, you could be putting others at risk as well. Who's in your car with you right now? Drowsy drivers are just as dangerous as drunk drivers. Don't wait. Call the TMJ Therapy and Sleep Center today at 825-7200. That's 825-7200. Or see us on the web at tmjreno.com.
This is Chandra from Bloom Bake Shop and Floral, and I've been baking since I could reach the kitchen counter. I bake everything from cookies and birthday cakes for your celebrations to wedding cakes and flowers for the most special day of your life. I was raised here in Reno, and my reputation depends on providing the best desserts you've ever tasted. Call me at 775-287-8905 or see us on the web at bloomreno.com. Let Bloom Bake Shop make your day a little sweeter.
Let me tell you about Larry Bigler, CPA. You know, there's a lot of accountants and bookkeepers as well as CPAs located right here in the great state of Nevada as well as our nation. But believe me, there is only one Larry Bigler, CPA, and you can get to him by going to larrybigler.com. That's larrybigler.com, or give him a call. That phone number is area code 775-323-8131. Now, let me tell you why, and I'll give that number out again, but I'm telling you to get a hold of Larry Bigler because it doesn't matter what your financial needs are. It might be creating a new business, an entity, or taking care of one of the infamous nastygrams you've received from the IRS. That's why you get a hold of Larry Bigler vibrantlife.com. Give him a call in Reno, Nevada at 775-323-8131.
Welcome back to Vibrant Life Radio Show. We're sitting here with Amanda Burton and Jackie Goodman, publishers of Edible Reno Tahoe, and Gary Romano from Sierra Valley Farms. Before break, I want you to answer, or after break, I want you to answer this question, Jackie. You have been very instrumental in taking the publishing gifts of Amanda Burton and the organic farming gifts of Gary Romano, bringing them together, but also other organic or people involved in organic foods, organic restaurants, just better living. How has it been to go out and actually touch these people and bring them together?
It's been very rewarding. That's probably what I enjoy the most out of my job. I kind of think of it as a new career that I'm in now, that I've discovered at a late age, which is great to be able to reinvent yourself. But with the vehicle that she produces and the slant of the stories when she looks at something, it's not the way I would look at it. And she's got that great eye of just kind of finding the really cool thing about what Gary has to offer on his farm. So when I bring people and introduce people, whether it's restaurants, I could be meeting with a farmer in a restaurant, and I bring over the owner of the restaurant. I'm like, you know what? You really got to try this guy's beef. Mm-hmm. He's he rubs it at night. It's got love before it's processed, and and then the farmer goes out to their big deep freeze in the truck and brings some samples in. And to know that the magazine's been a vehicle to be able to introduce and bring people together has just been amazing for me, because I can go into these restaurants and I know what I'm eating, and that's huge.
It really is. It's nice to know that it's local, or that it's, the cow head love before you got it in your hamburger. But one of the things, too, that you were talking about when you said you do the local farmers market out there, I know when you do the farmers markets in the regions, and you see all those other farmers that that you get to see once a week in the summer months, and then you see Jackie and Amanda walking up and supporting you there. I mean, that's got to say a lot too, because they are very supportive of our local farmers.
Oh, it's great. They're always they come to the farm way out in Beckworth probably at least 2 or 3, 4 times a summer, and they're always at the Reno markets, and I see them in Tahoe City at all my markets. So I always think they're just checking up on me to see if I'm actually farming. But,
that's right. They're checking up on you, making sure you're bringing all the good stuff.
That's right.
Amanda, let me ask you this, Amanda. What was one of the biggest challenges in getting edible off the ground? Other than your fear of failure, we all have those things.
Sure.
I mean, we've all had those things. But once you got over that fear of faith, I like that. What was your biggest challenge?
I was a little worried about talking about organics and sustainability and all these sorts of things. I guess I thought maybe Reno was, I don't know, a little bit more on the conventional side. And so I thought, are these people going to be able to embrace this wonderful way that we all should be going, which is organic and natural and sustainable? So I think I was a little concerned about that. I did have a couple interactions with some readers early on who were kind of pushing me a little bit on that. Just old school dairy farmers and other folks out there who were, they don't believe in it. They're the other side. They don't believe that organic is real, and they don't believe that it's the real way to go, and that it's the good way to go, that they think conventional is the way to go. They were taught a certain way.
Right.
Gary can speak about this much better than I can. But I did run into that a little bit in the beginning, and so that was scary. It was a little scary. I thought, oh my gosh, are people not embracing this?
Just the philosophical potholes of change.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Boy, I have that in my profession as well. Gary, what were some of the challenges? I see you nodding your head, and you were on that same
I
path.
totally agree with that, because I'm in the middle of Sierra Valley, and I'm the only organic nut out there, so to speak, in a conservative area there. And a lot of times I get the planes, probably you guys taking pictures, but I always think they're checking to see if I'm growing that other kind of stuff, But no, the biggest thing is I had the same challenge of, what's this kid going to do doing organic? And all I always tell people is that, it's the way we used to farm before we had pesticides and chemical fertilizers. It's the way my grandfather did. I think of them coming over from Italy, 14 years old. They couldn't speak English, but yet they could farm. They had the natural instinct. They knew how to farm. They knew how to grow great vegetables, flowers. And so I'm just going back to the ways they used to grow.
That it should be.
And that's a sustainable way because, all your chemicals and your pesticides are petroleum-based products. So petroleum-based is not a sustainable way of the future. Where when you go biologically, letting nature's systems of decomposition and organic matter and microbes in the soil, that's your earth right there.
Right.
There's nothing more basic than take care of Mother Earth, she'll take care of you.
It's a lot of love.
And, let's talk a little bit about pesticides because I think, the USDA, the FDA, we as consumers believe that they have our best interest.
Right.
And I don't know if I'm stepping over a couple of things and if I'm going to have somebody knocking on my door giving me a ticket soon. Yeah. But what most of us don't realize as consumers is that we are eating stuff that was developed for warfare.
Yeah.
When you see Roundup, and what most people don't understand about when we're talking about GMO foods is that you've got somebody in a lab coat under a microscope splicing a piece of that Roundup poison into our seed, into the fruit. Okay, so that was Agent Orange, which a lot of people don't realize that that's what Monsanto developed, and we are eating in every single thing that we ingest poison. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, but I don't want to eat that.
I don't think the FDA has our back.
No.
And they call that shotgunning, where they shotgun basically Roundup in the embryo. It becomes immune to it. And then they can go and spray Roundup over the whole crop, and it doesn't kill the crop. But they have residue levels. And you got to remember, in human tissue, there's, I don't know how many parts per million is allowed on all the conventional fruits and vegetables you eat. There's a residue level that's allowed. You can't get it all out. And what happens over 10, 15, 20 years, those residue levels build up in your bodies. And now they're attributing a lot of the pesticides to ADD and a lot of the problems that their kids are having.
Cancer.
Well, Gary, let me ask you a question then. Okay, so I go in the store. I want to buy organic. I want to support organic. I want to go to restaurants that feature organically grown foods and healthier foods. So I go into a grocery store.
Yes.
And how do I know, or how would a consumer know if something's really organic? I mean, online I could get a bunch of those little organic. What was it you said? The national organization. Oh, there was the
CCOF.
CCOF.
You have to have that label.
Okay, so I could just go buy those labels and put those on my bananas. I mean, how does a consumer have a way?
That is the way.
Knowing that so those are
USDA approved labels.
Okay.
And that is your insurance. There's 3 certifiers in our region, which is basically certified, California Certified Organic Farmers, CCOF. There's Oregon Tilth, and there's one other. I can't remember. They do more processed products, and I can't remember the other one. But there's the main 3 on those. But that's your certification. They all have to have that stamped label, and there's label requirements for them to have it on there.
So every piece of fruit, every vegetable would have that on.
Yes, and every processed product as well. Your condiments, it's all on the label. It's a round green USDA organic label that you see on from bread to jams to produce.
And if you're going out and eating in a restaurant, it's important to know who you're patronizing. So if I'm going into Midtown Eats and on the menu it says, Hole in One Ranch, or I don't know that they serve Hole in One Ranch. It's actually I think Dot Ranch out in Susanville is where they get their meat. 5 Dot.
5 Dot.
And then you've got Old Granite Street Eatery, and they have a list of every single farm on the bottom of their menu. I don't go to big box stores or restaurants anymore. I don't eat at the big chains.
Right.
And that's one of the way I take that part of the food system out of my diet.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Amanda, in your magazine, in Edible, Reno, Tahoe, do you list, or is there a way, how would a consumer know which restaurants are the safe restaurants to, if you're looking for organic foods and well-grown, healthy foods, how would I know which restaurants are doing that and which restaurants are not?
We do offer an Eat Local guide in our magazine in every issue. It's in the back of the magazine, in print and also online. And that's not to say that every single restaurant in there is all organic or all natural, but a lot of them are trying.
And
so we
local,
want to give them
Right.
props for trying. And they buy local. And there's also the Nevada Grown page, which Jackie's reminding me of here.
Yes.
It's a very, very good page. We have an organization called Nevada Grown, and it's a wonderful, wonderful organization. And so we have a list of some restaurants that you can try that all buy local produce and products.
And also, if you want to go online and find farmers, there's a nationwide called Local Harvest. You can just Google it, go online, and punch in your zip code, and it'll tell you and you can put your miles within 50 miles, 100 miles, and it'll show all the farmers that are in your area, farmers markets, what CSA, community-supported agriculture programs you can get into, and so forth.
And most of the local restaurants seem to be really proud of the fact that they're buying, if they are buying local, they say they're buying local, and if they're buying organic, they definitely tell you they're buying organic. And in my view, the best way to support that is with your wallet, and to make sure that those are the restaurants that are staying open and that are busy, and they're supporting our local farmers, and that just keeps everything going. It's kind of like having your crops and then your insects and then your cows and then your chickens, following each other around. It's the same way. You just use your wallet. So I definitely support that.
Well, this is, as usual, an exciting show, Vibrant Life Radio show with your host, Dr. Brian Allman, and my beautiful wife, Julene. Again, if you just joined us, we're sitting here with Jackie Goodman and Amanda Burton, publishers of Edible Reno Tahoe, and Gary Romano, organic farmer extraordinaire.
Hey, in addition to listening to this great America Matters media show, we invite you to sign up for our exciting new community e-magazine at americamatters.us. We'll share highlights from the over 30 shows we produce with links to listen to replays. You'll also get links to some terrific local businesses and be first to hear about our new shows and hot topics. So go to americamatters.us and sign up to receive our new community e-magazine. And while you're online, like our America Matters page on Facebook. America Matters is where you matter. Let's stay in touch.
Hey, honey, what a great idea to get the Cancer Plus policy from Gary Pageant Insurance. It not only covers cancer, but 27 other dreaded diseases.
Sweetheart, I tell you what, it's amazing, and what a great price.
What's more amazing is that the policy is guaranteed, it's renewable for life, and the benefits are paid regardless of other insurance that we have.
Plus the payments are paid directly to us. Benefits don't change when you and I turn 65, and we don't have to be hospitalized to receive these benefits.
Well, we need to give all of our friends and family Gary Pageant's number.
Gary Pageant Insurance offers the best available term life insurance rates and a cancer insurance policy that also covers 27 additional diseases. Visit GaryPageantInsurance.com. That's GaryPagettT insurance.com. Or give them a call at 760-223-1952. That number again is 760-223-1952.
Let me tell you about a Proper Fit located right here in Reno Town Mall, and the only distributor of a flip-flop that is sweeping this nation right now. It's made by a company called T-Rox, T-E-R-O-X. You can't miss it. It is the softest sandal that has ever been on anyone's foot throughout this nation of ours. I want you to give a Proper Fit a call right now. Their telephone number is area code 775-323-3757. Mention Bubba's Bets or Nevada Matters, and you'll get 10% off the T-Rox soft sandals, made, more importantly, right here in the United States of America. They also carry safety composite toe, work boots, athletic shoes. We're talking Keen, Converse, Wolverine, Skechers, Golden Retriever, and Rock Sport. Give them a call, 775-323-3757.
Welcome back to Vibrant Life Radio, and I'm here with Jackie and Amanda from Reno Tahoe Edible Magazine, and also with Gary Romano from Sierra Valley Farms. We're so excited to be here. We'd like to thank our sponsors, the TMJ Therapy and Sleep Center, and Vibrant Family Smiles. Just before we left, we were talking about your Nevada Grown page in Edible Magazine, which is really very informative. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, we started this page because there's a lot of local restaurants that don't believe in advertising. So I had to come up with an idea of creating a special page that some of these restaurants like 4th Street Bistro.
Right.
I'm going to use them as an example.
Natalie,
Sellers,
one of the first.
amazing chef. She was one of the first, I think the first Reno restaurant to have her own farmer growing seasonally for her. And so she said, Jackie, you know, I don't advertise, but I want to support you in the magazine any way I can, but you're going to have to do something special for me. You're going to have, I can't just take an ad out in the magazine. So we came up with an idea of partnering with Nevada Grown and getting them to kind of maybe subsidize the page, because I also wanted to be able to almost, I don't want to say give it away, but it was a nice way to be able to come into the magazine when you're not used to advertising. So what I did was, I think we started with maybe 8, and then it turned into like 10, 11 on a single page. And then you saw other restaurants were coming to me and says, well, I want to be on this page with 4th Street Bistro.
Right.
How do I get on here? And I said, see,
Quality.
I said, you have got to start buying your produce.
You got to buy from Gary.
Yes. You have to buy. You have to buy from any of the farmers that are Nevada grown farmers, that you belong to this association. And Nevada Grown has to actually give us the green light to put somebody in there. A restaurant on this page can't order 3 tomatoes and be considered a Nevada Grown restaurant. These are people who are showing committed, buying all the time. And I'm at 2 pages now with a waiting list to get on to the Nevada Grown page. So anybody that's on this page, you could feel.
You're going to have to go to 3.
Well, you know what? I got my waiting list. Once I have 8 more restaurants, it'll be the 3rd page.
All right, anybody listening out there, if you're a restaurant, you want to be listed on that page as a quality restaurant that buys local, you know who to call.
That's right.
That's right. And just because your driver is local, that doesn't mean you're local from your distributor either.
Yes, this is true. This is true. Well, I appreciate the fact that you've put that together, because I think it is important to be able to try to find where, what are the best places to eat? Where are you finding local? Another place to find local is your local CSA. So tell me what that means and how you find it.
Well, I'll take a shot at this. I'm sure Gary can talk about this a lot better than I can. But CSA means Community Supported Agriculture. And basically what you're doing is you're giving money to the farmer up front or rancher. Sometimes it seems like a big amount. It might be $1,000 or maybe a little less. I mean, the amounts totally vary. But what you're doing is you're telling the farmer, I'm supporting you. Grow me some tomatoes. Grow me some lettuce. Grow me, I'm with you. I'm with you for the season, And Gary, please
it's
chime
like
in.
subscription farming, basically.
Right.
Same type of thing.
I like that.
And there's a certain amount that we do a similar program. It's an RSA. It's a restaurant community agriculture. It's the same thing where restaurants can prepay with me for one. It's not as long, but you have a bigger basket. So in other words, instead of getting a $25 basket to your house every week, a restaurant will get a $150 basket from the farm every week. So like Campo, Mark Esty, and I started this program about 8-10 years ago. And it's a great way for me to know what I need to grow and have some money up front, because the farmers are always the last one, the first one to put the money out, the last one to get paid. So it's always nice if you can get a little insurance package.
Sure, it's
or
like a deposit, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Here's my money, and this is what I'd like you to.
Right, and it was
grow.
developed in Japan in the 1970s, so it's been around for a while. There's quite a few in the United States, and there's quite a few
There's
in our area.
10 or maybe 15 in the region, which I find really interesting. There's some where you can just buy pork.
Yes.
There's some that have meat and produce. Some just do produce. There's all kinds of different ones in the area, which is really wonderful.
Yeah, that's a great way to buy, because I know I like to buy local, I like to eat local, but it is tough to find if you're a family of 2, let's say. So I think a really good way to do that is to group with some friends who want the same type of thing and pool your money and tell the farmer, okay, we'd like to do this, and these are the days that we want to.
Yeah, and they call them shares. So most small farmers do anywhere from 10 to 50 shares. Then as they get larger, it's 100 to 200, and then you get the big ones in the Bay Area that have thousands and thousands that go all over the Bay Area. But it's a good concept. It's a little hard a lot of times for our area in the colder climates because we don't have the variety of produce that the Central Valley or the foothill people have. So it gets a little challenging. You get too many, you get tired of eating kale for 12 weeks and stuff like that.
That's right. Well, a couple of seasons ago, too, we had a really rough season, and I remember a few families that I knew that were doing this type of thing were just devastated because they're like, okay, we're not getting any vegetables.
That's right.
But, I mean, it doesn't happen that often.
Right.
I think most of the time you have a very good crop to offer,
yes.
which is great. And
it's also, if I may, it's also a great way to learn about certain vegetables. For instance, you might get some rhubarb or a bunch of beets, or suddenly you need
never
to
ate
learn how to cook this
Exactly.
and that. And that's actually where I was introduced to beets. I didn't think I liked beets.
Yeah.
And we had a CSA, and we got all these beets, and we started cooking them.
what do we do with these?
Yeah, and most farmers will put on a little newsletter, and they'll
Yes.
send out recipes. This is what you do with kohlrabi, what do you do with kohlrabi? Type
It's funny.
stuff,
I was 45 years old before I knew what to do with rhubarb.
Well, I didn't know what it was. I said to Amanda, "Oh my God, we have purple celery in this box. What am I supposed to do with this?"
Make pie.
Get some
And she was
strawberries.
like-
Strawberries, right.
And she just stared at me and said, "Really?
Yeah.
You're the cook in the family, and
What do
you
we-
don't know what
What is
rhubarb
this?
is?"
You had to call Laura over at Nothing Doing. Say,
Right.
what do I do with this?
Right.
Give me a recipe.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, I know there are a lot of really cool things that you can be introduced to. One of the other neat things that I think is great about our local farms is many of them offer days on the farm where you can actually go out there and help harvest, or you can just learn about how they're growing and things like that. Can you name a few of those farms where that's available?
There's some, I don't know off the top
Girl
of
Farm.
we do a
Girl
drop.
Farm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Wendy
Girl
at Girl
Farm.
Farm has a wonderful
River
program,
School.
River School. We have a drop-in program where people will just drop in on the farm with family and kids.
Just to
And then
see
we
how-
also do our dinners in the barn, our summer series, our Farm to Fork.
Been there, done
Series.
that.
Great.
That was
Okay.
wonderful.
I'm upset that you didn't invite me.
Oh, my
Okay.
gosh. There's still
So,
time. Come this
and
year.
then Rick Latin Farms puts on a festival. They do a corn maze, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And
It's off
so
the
there's
hook.
quite a few, and you have it in all your events calendar, don't
Yes.
you? Yeah.
Yes. That will
Yeah,
be
Amanda
listed.
has it there.
That's fantastic because it's a great way to introduce children. I'm a big believer in introducing your kids to how their food should be grown and how it should look when it hits the table, and also where does the meat come from. It's a good thing for kids to learn. Sometimes it's a little harsh, but it is a good thing for them to know where the chicken comes from or what it starts out as.
Right, and most farmers, we love to have school kids come to the farm. I mean, so those of you out, teachers and so forth, just contact the farmer, and we'll have the school kids come out, and I'll loosen a row of carrots or loosen a row of radishes and get them
Right.
out there and get their hands dirty.
Love
and
that.
What's so cool is
Yeah.
that the kids love to help. They love to get their hands dirty and they love to help. So
Yeah.
great program. Great.
And most kids, you go to McDonald's, there's nothing green that comes in your Happy
Yeah.
Meal. So, I have friends who, my kid won't eat that. And I'm like, you know what, bring the kid over
That's
to my
right.
backyard because I'm growing peas and I'm
Right.
growing carrots and tomatoes. I have such an amazing garden that I, flip around every season. And, Sunday I'm planting all my seeds in the
Yeah,
house.
I got that.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about that. But, when a kid watches things grow, it's funny what they wouldn't eat before they grew it themselves. And one
Now they
year I
wanna try
grew
it.
string beans, and I, when I was planting them again, Amanda said, like, "Well, you didn't grow those last year," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, I did, but I just ate them all while I was working in the garden, pruning other things.
You just didn't see them.
You just didn't get to eat them, And it's amazing what you'll eat fresh right off of your plant when you clip it off. And children have, it's just this awesome thing for them to actually watch something grow that they did it themselves and what they will actually eat.
Yeah.
Their whole perception of food
Cherry
and
tomatoes.
It's
Yeah.
amazing. Our lab loves cherry tomatoes,
Right.
So I came out one day and was being real quiet, walking around the corner of the house, and there she was with her little tiny mouth just pulling
Right.
cherry tomatoes off, and I'm like, "Hey, those are mine."
You're not supposed to eat those. Yeah, that's so funny. No, speaking of that, a lot of people don't buy organic because they think it's too expensive and it's not affordable for a family of four to buy all organic. organic and things like that. I know I have found on the internet a list of top 10 things you should buy organic, and and some of the websites and things
The
like
Dirty
that.
Dozen
The Dirty Dozen,
Yes.
exactly. And I would love to hear more about how you afford to buy good local.
Well, like I was saying earlier about organics has like 10 times as much nutrients as conventional. So if you look at your budget, just, it takes like 10 apples to equal basically 2 or 3 organic apples. So your cost is about the same. So just
That's a good point.
Just scale down, and instead of you buying a bag of 5-pound bag of organic oranges, buy a 2-pound bag or a 1-pound bag.
And a juicer, so I'm buying that 5-pound bag.
But yeah, I mean, everything's proportional. So you just have to really look at it in a different way. And again, it's priority. Everybody has money for that, laptop and that big screen and that.
Well, you look at long-term health. Long-term health care, very much more expensive than buying
where's
organic.
your priority?
Exactly.
That's what I say.
You could spend a little bit more money on food, less on processed foods, and your $30 copay on your medical visits. You wouldn't have the same amount of medical visits.
That's right.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So you do have to keep your priorities in mind. And we are sitting here with Amanda and Jackie from Reno Tahoe Edible Magazine, and Gary, and we'll be back with Vibrant Life Radio.
Hello, this is Worldwide Bank. Press 1 for accounts, 2 for balance information, 3 for give your house back to us department, 4 for the we lost your modification application department, 5 for the stay on hold forever department.
Hello, this is Ivana for Close-A-Lot. Can I help you? Hello?
Unbelievable! Don't let the bank win. Call 359-1936 today. Hello, I'm attorney Carlin Kidder of the Kidder Law Group, a debtor's rights law firm. Our law firm offers solutions to people who find themselves behind on bills, are hopelessly underwater on their house, and who want to make their financial picture bright again. We offer free consultations. Give us a call and schedule an appointment so that we can come up with a solution that fits you. Once again, that's 359-1936, or visit our website, KIDDERlawgroup.com.
Announcing Scampi, Reno's newest pasta house and bar. It creates your business casual lunch and fine dinner dining. For lunch and dinner, an amazing selection of Scampi dishes, along with homemade ravioli, gnocchis, and lasagnas, are freshly prepared for you on the premises. Indulge yourself with classic Scampi with white wine lemon butter sauce, Scampi Diablo made with spicy marinara sauce, or Scampi with marinated artichoke hearts. Enjoy homemade desserts like tiramisu, creme brulee, and cannoli are created for you on the site as well. To fit with your New Year's fitness resolution, don't forget to try, on the light side, their large array of fresh and grilled salads and healthy sandwiches. Scampi is centrally located on the corner of Liberty and South Virginia at 425 South Virginia Street, across from the Federal Building in the heart of Reno's Midtown District. You can park for free in the garage or in the adjacent parking lot. For reservations, call 775-284-0660.
If you've been diagnosed with sleep apnea, but you're not wearing your CPAP, please listen carefully. Every day you are putting your life at risk by ignoring this life-threatening disease. Right now, you could be putting others at risk as well. Who's in your car with you right now? Drowsy drivers are just as dangerous as drunk drivers. Don't wait. Call the TMJ Therapy and Sleep Center today at 825-7200. That's 825-7200. Or see us on the web at tmjreno.com.
This is Chandra from Bloom Bake Shop and Floral, and I've been baking since I could reach the kitchen counter. I bake everything from cookies and birthday cakes for your celebrations to wedding cakes and flowers for the most special day of your life. I was raised here in Reno, and my reputation depends on providing the best desserts you've ever tasted. Call me at 775-287-8905 or see us on the web at bloomreno.com. Let Bloom Bake Shop make your day a little sweeter.
Welcome back to Vibrant Life Radio, and we're excited to get back to a really, really important topic here with Gary from Sierra Valley Farms and Jackie and Amanda from Edible Reno Tahoe. Big priority for me is children, and obviously Vibrant Life Radio is about health and lifestyle. So one of the things we really want to talk about while we have you great experts here, or people with a lot of knowledge, let's put it that way, about this particular topic is our kids are basically being poisoned on a daily basis with a lot of our processed foods. So let's just go around the table and talk a little bit about this topic and what we can do to keep it from happening.
I think that the root of our problem is processed foods. I'm reading the book Wheat Belly right now, and I can honestly say I don't agree with everything that's in it. But when you start looking at the fact that we used to have bread once a day, and then of course our bread has been genetically modified, our wheat has, so we're raising our glucose level every time we eat the new wheat that is in our food system right now here in our country. But when you have 3 or 4 or 5 different things that you're eating all day long that are processed with gluten and wheat in it, and constantly raising our blood glucose level. And, we look at these kids, and yes, they're a tiny bit sedentary because now you just can't ride a bike down the street like they did when we were kids. They'll get kidnapped. But when you think about how the body's not processing everything that we're eating, you've really got to think about it. And when you look at the back of the labels on most of the stuff that is in a box in your pantry today, you cannot pronounce most of the ingredients. And I think that if you just looked at it, if you put it in front of your grandmother and your grandmother didn't know what that was, you shouldn't be eating it.
Right.
Oh, so true. Yeah. I agree totally.
Well, I agree. There's so many inputs from pesticides to antibiotics, which is there's just a new study that Michael Pollan just put out a day or two ago about antibiotics and the misnomers of antibiotics. And then you got the hormones and all the beef and meat products and the sedentary lifestyle. I look at it, the big differences, even though I have a 14-year-old boy on the farm, I mean, he's on that phone. I'm fighting, even though he's got 65 acres. I said, go ride your bike.
You can ride your bike out there. It's okay to ride your bike out there.
You could even have a kite, whatever.
How about just go and work?
Yeah. And then having the option of organic and the lifestyle. It's basically, like for farming, for me, it's a lifestyle.
It is.
And it's a great way of life. I call it farmer size. I have my own farmer size. I don't go jazzercising.
You bend over,
that's right,
you pick the vegetables.
Right. And you get plenty of exercise, and you're out in the sun. I think a lot of times, too, we underestimate the value of vitamin D. Exactly. But yeah, all of that really contributes, and we need to get the kids off of the McDonald's. And I fight it because Joey's on a baseball team, and after every game we're going to Carl's Jr. and all that, and I'm just pulling my teeth out.
Please don't go.
Well, when you mentioned Michael Pollan, I read Omnivore's Dilemma, and I actually didn't read it. I listened to it on 15 CDs driving to Idaho.
You need Audible.
And I used to eat McDonald's. I'm not even going to lie to you. Yeah. And it's been 4.5 years since I have put a drop of fast food. And by the time we went to Idaho and then Wyoming for a business thing. By the time I got to Wyoming, I couldn't eat. Yeah. And Amanda's like, why aren't you ordering the buffalo? Why aren't you ordering this? And I'm like, I am so disgusted about our food system. I'm just going to have pasta tonight.
Unless you knew where that cow came from.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, the oatmeal. Talk about the oatmeal at McDonald's and what a surprise that was.
Okay, I read a New York Times article, and even McDonald's managed to screw up the oatmeal. There are 21 ingredients in their oatmeal that 11 are not found in our kitchen. How do you mess up an oat?
Yeah, exactly.
So that the mom's thinking they're doing themselves a great thing. I'm going to have oatmeal while my kid has the McMuffin. And I have to say I miss the I miss the sausage.
I miss
biscuit
the fries actually.
I miss the fries
those
too.
are modified as well.
But
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. And just changing some of those things in my diet. I'm not as big as I was before. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what my weight is.
No, you don't have to. You look great.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But no, I think definitely all the the options we have now with organic foods and all the farmers markets in Reno. There's one every day of the week, just about. and I know a lot of people are working, but you have night markets, you have CSA options, you have the Great Basin Co-op. I want to give them a great
Big shout out. Yeah, they're great.
What they do, and even Whole Foods now with their big push of not taking on GMO products.
Their labeling is going to be really, really important, I think, in the marketplace.
And so the biggest thing is access. One thing I do want to touch bases on is that we are a minority at this table. On the books that I've been working on, research shows that only 5 to 6% of the American public actually visit farmers markets and use CSAs. 95% of the public actually go to Walmart, Winco,
which is why we have
and
the
these
obesity
large
rates.
chains. So part of for us as farmers is getting our fresh fruits and vegetables to the residents, because a lot of the farmers markets in the Bay Area are impacted with farmers. And like I used to go down to Chico, I no longer can get into the Chico market. They have too many farmers. So what happens is pretty soon you're getting to a point where you have a lot of new farmers that want to come in, but where do they sell? How do I sell to the neighborhoods? How do I get people to have access to fresh local food?
And talking about access, I know a lot of the farmers markets actually take food stamps. So instead of, the wherever we call our poverty level of what we can afford, instead of buying alcohol and cigarettes, they're turning around and going and visiting the farmers markets.
They have the machines there now.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing too. Our government can subsidize anything that they want, whether it's corn or whether it's lettuce and wonderful tomatoes from you. And we have to, as a society, push back on what we want. We have to stop letting the big five, Cargill, Monsanto, and all of these big companies control our food system.
And I wanted to clarify that too, because a lot of people think, farmers always get subsidized. But I want to make clear to everyone that the only ones that get subsidized are your main commodities of wheat, cotton, corn, soy, and there's one other I always forget. And they're the big boys. And in fact, there is no subsidies even for specialty vegetables. And that's basically, even the big growers in Salinas Valley don't get subsidies for growing food.
Exactly. And I'd love for Michelle Obama to start speaking up on that. I mean, she's been very loud and boisterous about controlling what we eat. And I think it's important for them to start putting the money where their mouth is and saying, hey, we think you should eat healthier food. We think you should eat organic.
Although I have to say her husband has allowed GMOs to go into sugar beets, alfalfa, and I forget the latest one, but yes, we
not
need
excited about that.
We need some consistency here.
Yeah,
we do.
And a lot of people don't know that the Bush administration, prior to the Obama administration, their entire kitchen in the White House was organic. He just wouldn't put a garden out there, but he eats it himself, and that's the food he chooses for himself.
Right.
He just wasn't preaching it to the rest of the country, and I think that's important for people to know as well.
And I think it's catching on. I mean, now
it is.
There's 17 states going in with a GMO labeling bill in the next cycle. And Nevada, for all of you, is one and should get on the bandwagon for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I really, honestly, going back, I know I keep mentioning Whole Foods because it's so huge. It is a very, very large, powerful company, and they do have the ability to control a lot of things and to push certain things. And I think their newest move, I wish it wasn't going to take 5 years, and I'm hoping that the companies who do it first start selling the heck out of their products. Whoever does it first is going to make some money. So, I mean, just everybody always puts their money where their mouth is, or you would hope so. So if you start seeing those non-GMO products on the shelves, and you start seeing, you look for the organic products and purchase them, it speaks loud. It speaks very loudly, and I think that their move will affect all grocery chains at some point, because they have made a lot of organic changes in your normal market. When you see Walmart with organics, you know something's happened.
Absolutely.
And we're kind of the last ones to come along. There's like 17 countries that have banned GMO products now, and Hawaii actually being the first bill that's actually going into effect this year on labeling of GMOs. Yeah.
Well, I went into Wells Fargo Bank the other day, and the teller says, "Hey, you're the organic magazine lady, right? And I said, well, I mean, not really, but yes. And he says, well, I have to tell you, I've been doing all organics now. He goes, Brandon, the other banker, said, you shouldn't be eating that yogurt. You should do this organic Greek yogurt and then these vegetables. And he said, and accidentally I grabbed organic milk, not thinking anything about it. And he said, when I drank it, I thought, that milk tastes so good. What did I buy? And he looked at it and he goes, wow, I bought organic milk. And oh my gosh, it really does taste better.
Organic milk in the glass bottle is killer. There's just nothing better.
Yes.
Also, too, you ever notice when you walk through Safeway or when you go through the vegetable section, there's no smell? There's no odor. You don't smell the vegetables.
Right. That's
because
what I
they
love
pick
about.
them green,
Right.
But if you go in September and you drive by a farmer's market when the melons are, you could smell them with your windows open.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's how I pick all my produce, actually. People always look at me funny because I'm always standing there in the produce section smelling everything because I think it's important to have that sense.
Sure.
But I want to definitely thank you guys for being here and for talking a little bit about some of these important issues. And I really hope that you all will come back. I know we're going to have you guys in every month. And Gary, I'd love to have you back as well. We have so many more topics to talk about. Jackie Goodman and Amanda Burden from Edible Magazine, Reno Tahoe Magazine, and Gary Romano, thank you so much. You've been listening to Vibrant Life Radio, and we look forward to being back with you again next week.